Hello, and welcome back subscribers and new viewers to another Sunday speed paint. Before we get started, I'd like to say for any of you who are not already subscribed, or if you haven't turned on notifications, to do so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you. For today's video, I thought I would do a sort of draw along with me if you want to have this video on in the background, or something relaxing for you to watch and listen. I thought it would be something that I would save for the start of the new year, where I'd explain how I used to draw versus how I'm trying to draw now, but I feel like that's gonna change yet again within a couple of weeks or a month. So I thought it would be more fun if I talked about not only what I'm drawing, but also the fact that it is winter. And where I used to live was a desert state, and where I live now is in the UK, and it is cold. For example, right now it is about 5 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas in the desert state, it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit pretty much all day. At the lowest temperature at nightfall, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold enough that you'd probably want to wear pants and a light jacket, but still not that cold. And when I say that I am bundled up in multiple layers, I mean I have the thermals, the extra clothing, the sweaters, the blankets, scarves, hats, gloves, blankets, again, you name it. I'm not built for this weather, but I'm looking forward to if it does snow, because according to the weather reports, we might be getting snow within the next week or two. And apparently, I'm not used to the winter lasting all the way through February onward, because for me, winter stops around January, if I can even call it that in the desert state, because it doesn't get cold until, very mid-December, and it doesn't last, because the minute that it turns January and the clock strikes noon, it is back up to 90 degrees, whereas right now, I'm not sure if the temperatures are going to drop to the negatives, because if it's going to snow, it's going to have to be cold enough for that. I've also learned, apparently, from some of the locals that when it does snow in the UK, quite a lot of things shut down, and I don't blame them. I'd love to stay indoors by the warm fire, bundled up in layers with my husband, and I like that. It's something completely new to me, but I'm enjoying every bit of it because I will gladly take the cold because I can bundle up rather than the heat of 120 degree Fahrenheit summer where I'm sweating buckets. And I don't know if this is entertaining for all of you guys to hear a lot of these things, but I'm actually excited to get to share more about things that I've experienced that maybe no one else has shared before, and also what it's like moving from one country to another story times as I've been adapting and filling out many paperworks. Don't know how much of things you guys would want story times of, but I have an entire list on Microsoft Word that is just waiting to be filled out. Another thing is, as I was making this illustration, I had to do a lot of research, so I went to Pinterest and looked up a lot of references. Normally, I usually would do a sort of line art, fill it out, color it in bucket style. You'll have to excuse me, I'm talking faster than I can think, and the words just jumbled around there. This is also why I don't use a script, because my dyslexia would make the words even more backwards and I'd sound like I'm speaking in a foreign language or alien language. But as I was working on the textures for this, a lot of the brushes that I was using, I would actually be using the eraser tool just as much as I would be the pen tools, because you can use any of the brushes as erasers. So if I wanted to lighten up some of that snow on the tree, I could, and it was really cool. Another thing that I enjoyed implementing in this painting is the fact that because I'm almost sculpting it, I can erase sections of it without having to bother with the usual line art layer above. It is amazing, and I can see why a lot of people who do, sort of smooshing all of their layers into one when they render, because you can just kind of use, different blending brushes or smudges or whatever you call them, and just kind of going over things in layers. It is beautiful, and I am starting to love the process of layers, because although I don't think it's perfect, I am really happy with how that snow looks, and especially the way that this house looks, as slightly slanted as it is, it looks so much better than what I would usually make and it just feels more three-dimensional, with the way that I did the background, the midground, and the foreground. And although this isn't something that I would imagine being something poster-worthy, I will say that this is something that I would love to implement in my comic, because I personally think that although I do think that blending something like this with my characters might be a little bit difficult, I think it'd be worth it. Mostly because if I put this level of quality into it and post once a month, I think it would be more worth the wait than me rushing it out within a week and it looks sloppy and all discombobulated. Another thing is, a lot of my projects, I don't know if I've already mentioned this in the video before, but when I have these, I like to share them with my husband for a proofreading kind of thing or a double check, but also I'm not sure if I'll be posting some of these sort of work-in-progress projects to Patreon and perhaps have voting for if there are concept sketches where I do maybe like 2 or 4 of them and have you vote on them if you'd like that, or I can even try to do more public postings on the little like community section if there is something that you would want to see more of for that month. I will try to do more of those to kind of engage with well, the whole of the audience. Whether you are subscribed or not, you are more than welcome to participate. And of course, for Patreon, I'm gonna try for January onward to consistently post videos as early access, or at the very least the finished illustration early access for all of you, so that you guys can see these ahead of time and just have fun with it, because I'm really, really looking forward to the huge list that I have made for the new year. But for now, it's going to be just a little roundup of fun projects and some of my art challenges. And of course, for the next video, it's going to be a continuation of the Pokemon one. But for now, let's take a closer look at today's illustration. That about wraps it up, folks. If you guys have enjoyed, don't forget I have playlists and a link tree down below for more, and if you want to help support this channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like to let YouTube know so we can reach a wider audience and grow the Subscribblers army. See you next time. Bye-bye.